Hello and welcome back to Purus Java tutorials. In this session, we will look into the local classes and the anonymous inner classes. So they both are related to each other, which I will cover in this session. So let us have a requirement like I have a list of elements. Here, for the sake of simplicity, I have taken integer elements and I want to process all these integer elements or the elements through a thread. So what I should do? I should pass this list to a thread, right? So basically in this main method, I have created this list and I'm just calling this process data method, which is there in the same class, local class example using thread, and it is getting this integer list. And I'm using data processor, which is a thread, and it has the list which I need to process. So basically this implements runnable, so it becomes a thread, and it has the run method which calls the process data method here, and the process data method in turns it is processing the list. So here just the logic is to print out the list content. So slowly this example I will convert to make use of a local class. So here we have data processor as separate class, which is a thread, and this particular example is a separate class which is using this data processor. Now, in the last session, I had shown how to use the nested inner class. So basically, why to keep this data processor as a separate? Because we are just using from this particular local class. I don't have any requirement of calling this data processor or using the data processor anywhere else from my application. I want to only use in this particular class. So what I should do is I can take this particular class, Control X, and I put it here, let's say. So this has become a inner class, right? This is a inner class. That means this is the outer class and this is the inner class. So let's just delete this, which I don't require as of now. Okay, let's come here to this example, and if I'll run this class, then we will get the output like printing the values of this integer list. Now we will think that, okay, why to have the inner class? Since I am processing only the list which I am getting in this process data method, right? So basically I need to process only the list. So this is particularly specific to processing only this list. So this class I don't need to make it as an inner class. I can make it as a local class. Local class in the sense it will be local to this particular method. If any class which is defined inside a method or inside a block of statements, whether it is if block or whether it is switch statements or whether it is any other block of statements like for loop, so those will become the local classes. If you have a requirement like processing the data inside a method and that class is not at all used by any of the method in this class, so that time you can make use of the local class. So how I can make this nested class or the inner class as a local class? Just take this class, Control X, and put it here. So this becomes a local class. So local class is local to this method right now because I have defined this class within this particular method. Now let's try to run this and check whether this works or not. Yeah, this is fairly working. Now you will see that we are passing this integer list which I'm getting inside this process data method. Since Now the local class has become a part of this method. This class can access the local variable. So what I can do is I can just delete this list. I don't want this constructor also right now. And I don't want to pass this integer list, and then I can run it again. So let's see whether this works or not. Yep, this is working as expected. So now this has become a local class, and the local class can access the local variables which is there inside this method. So we have just covered about the local class. Now let's talk about the anonymous inner class. What is anonymous inner class? Anonymous inner class are the local classes which we don't give a name. As we can see here, this local class has a name, that is the data processor. So if you don't define a name for the local class, then it becomes a anonymous inner class. Now let's convert this local class to a anonymous inner class. Since I only need to run this logic, if you see here the thread, right inside the thread, the run method is calling this process data. So what I can do is I can just take this out from here and I can paste it like this. I just delete this particular method. Now I'm very much interested in running only this run method. So now let's see how we can make this local class as an anonymous inner class. So here I can do like this. I just will remove this one and I will create object without the class name. So here new thread, then inside this thread only run method is there. So we are creating a new thread, but we are not specifying what is the reference variable name here, and we need to give a semicolon here so that it will become an expression. So basically the anonymous inner class is an expression. Now I don't need this, even I don't need this one, and I don't need to do this also. Since I have already created an object within this expression, I can directly say that new thread dot then start. And if I'll just run this program, it will work fine. See here, it is working as expected. So what we have done so far is we had converted from the beginning, like the outer class we have taken and brought into this local class example using thread class. Inside this particular class we have made the processor as a nested class. Next, we converted that particular nested class into a local inner class because this list only we had to run from this particular method. I don't have any requirement such as in that situation you can go for the local classes. So, so after that we created that particular local class into a anonymous inner class where I don't have the class name. Here you will not see the class name. So this has become the anonymous inner class. And this makes more readable code. Yeah, that's all from this session. Thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for the further videos.